All right, got something I need to correct from yesterday's video real quick. I just realized this. I put out the weekly numbers for you guys, and yesterday it looked pretty awful. I went over this math because I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Something's not checking out. So this is just a quick correction to yesterday's video because I want to make sure I'm giving you guys accurate information. Surprised you guys didn't call me on that. Sometimes y'all do the math yourselves. Maybe I didn't give all the numbers, I'm not sure. But anyways, here's what we got, guys. Sorry about that. I actually feel really bad because what I don't want to do is be giving like the wrong information, because if somebody's looking to do this or whatever, they deserve to hear correct numbers. Okay, so I made a total of $7,400 last week. That's gross, right? 7,200 of that in loads, 200 of that in a truck order not used. Okay, the 80% of the 7,200 is $5,760. Somebody check me on that, please. $5,760. Add in the truck order not used, that brings my total to $5,960. Remember, I said I put in my fixed cost at $1,500. It's 14 something, but I just rounded up. My maintenance should be about $490. I spent $81 in def, and I spent $2,397 in fuel, which yesterday on the video I told you guys came out to $1,222. That should hit my bank. I want to make sure my information's correct, and I feel like a complete jackass right now. When I check the math repeatedly over and over and over again, it came out to $1,492 that should hit my bank. That's a $250 difference that I do not even know, looking at the math, how I possibly screwed that up. And I'm going to go over it one more time, but it's a little better. It's not great, but I wanted to at least make the correction because I know a lot of people are trying to figure out which way they want to go with their trucking career. This still isn't great, but it's a lot better than we thought it was going to be. $250 difference. Sorry, guys. Whoa, such excitement. I guess I'm not that guy. I thought for a minute I might be that guy that gets on YouTube and yells all excited, but boy, the steam went out quick, didn't it? I'm a little embarrassed by that, but I'm going to keep it. Just so you know, I'm not that guy. I was going to like do some wild beard stuff and just come in full steam ahead, but I just ain't got it in me. I'm just an old man. We've done it again is the point. We've done it again. We're here. We dropped off. He just gave me the green light, so he'll be out here. So today's going to be more discussion stuff, and I'm going to have to cut the video off when he brings me my paperwork, and I'm going to go park and stuff. But definitely more discussion stuff having to do with trucking as opposed to like actual trucking footage, because there's not a lot of trucking happening here today, but we're doing well. I appreciate all the feedback yesterday on how to improve maybe the fuel mileage a little bit and stuff like that. Here comes the guy with my paperwork. Give me 1 second here. All good?
All good.
Thank you, sir.
You betcha. Thank you. Have a good one.
Have a good day. All right. We are empty. I've been here for 15 minutes. 15 minutes that I've been in sleeper berth. So that's a good deal. But we got here. I do need to figure out how to get things a little more under control as far as fuel goes. And honestly, I made a dumb decision, and I love that my dispatcher lets me find loads and send them to him, but I made a stupid decision, and that's all there is to it. By running myself out to the west part of the country, I got a little greedy. You know, I saw that $4,400, and I went, we better grab that. It would not have gone that way if our loads, the two loads we had planned, one to Dallas and one to Denver, had not fallen through on us. But unfortunately that did not happen, and so we were scrambling for a load. So a little bit my fault, a little bit of the broker's or the shipper's fault, all those things at play. But I got greedy and I sent us out here, and that's okay. My dispatcher is there to support me, but he'll let me screw up too. So we were lucky to get what we got today. I've been looking at load boards for days. Now I'm not picking up till tomorrow because I need to get some hours back on the clock. I have to deadhead about 160 miles, but I found us 1,700 down to Ogden, Utah for a Thursday night delivery, and we should be able to reload Friday. for something to run through the weekend. We'll see how it goes. I was checking Wyoming weather because, like, okay, if we're gonna run east, we're going to be heading through Wyoming or Colorado, and Wyoming actually has a decent forecast. I'd probably want a heavier load, but just for the wind, but it actually has a pretty decent forecast, so we might be okay. But I found us that 1700 to Ogden. It was listed at 16 on the load board, and dispatcher got us to 17, accepted, done, we're good. That was the best we were going to do out of here. These rates are horrifying up here. This is Pendleton, Oregon. Absolutely horrifying right now. Like, you're seeing, I saw $1 a mile. I saw 82 cents a mile. I saw $1.50. A lot of $1.50s from C.H. Robinson. $1.30 from C.H. Robinson. A lot of them. We managed with the deadhead to get $2 on this. So we got lucky. We got really lucky. But it's booked. It's done. Everything's handled. I think it's through Werner, and they already sent me the tracking through the app, the Trucker Tools or whatever it is. So we're okay. We're okay. But we dodged a bullet here. Ogden's not the greatest market either, though. So we're gonna hope we can get in there and find like $4,000 to Atlanta or something, or we'll just see what we can find for Friday morning. But that's kind of where we're at. Anyways, I'm going to get these tandems pulled up. More discussion later on my thoughts on rates. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm not a smart person. My thoughts on 70-hour clocks and things like that. But I should get out of this dock, so I'll talk to you guys in a bit. All right, folks, let's talk some trucking, some freight rates, some 70-hour clocks and 11s and 14s and all that nonsense. I think it's kind of an interesting conversation. So, oh boy, what's going on with me? First, I'm about 80 miles from my pickup. It's at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. I'll head out of here about 4, just because there is like a back road to get there and all that. Just make sure I'm early. Who cares, right? Just make sure I'm early. This morning I was 6 minutes late to my drop-off, which is not normally me, but there's that way station. You know what? Who cares? Like, that just sounds like I'm making excuses at that point. I was like 6 minutes late, but they took 15 minutes to unload me. Absolutely brilliant. Love it. So, yeah, I'll go there, pick that up, obviously, and we'll head off to Ogden, which is part of what we'll talk about in the video, in this video today. So, I want to start this off with these are just thoughts. All right. As a matter of fact, I've done very little research. They are not facts in any ways. They may not even be opinions. They are just thoughts of a guy that is a truck driver that maybe doesn't understand the whole picture. Okay. And the reason I say that is because I get a little nervous about the discussions like this, even though I don't feel like they're inflammatory, like they're starting a huge thing. I remember the old channel where I would speak on, well, this is just kind of my opinion on these things. This is the way I'm seeing it. And like, people would get very upset about those things. I love when people disagree even, or when people offer a different point. But what I don't like is when people resort to insulting each other because they don't like what a guy had to say. So please, for conversation purposes, well, that's what this video is for conversation purposes only. I could be completely wrong. I could be missing something. At this current moment in this video, this is how I feel about these things, all right? So what got this whole conversation started in my head was I was talking about having to do a reset. Turns out I don't have to. I'm going to be fine, especially with this next load I got, because it's due 9 p.m. on Friday, so I can just run like 350 mile days plus the 80 to get there. We'll split that into 40 each day, so 390 per day to make this, making shorter days. And I just did a short day today, so I'm recapping more than I'm losing right now. So I don't actually have to do a reset. It's just in, let's say, Jesus, 1, 2, 3, 4. So in 5 days. Now all of a sudden I don't understand how an ELD works, but I had 3 long days back to back. a 11 hour, a 10 and a half, and a 10. And you want to keep your total on duty time at an average, your total time logged on duty and driving on average, I believe I've done this math before, under 8 hours and 45 minutes over an 8-day period, so you can keep recapping indefinitely. So we got those 3 long days that will present a little bit of a challenge for us later in the week, but when those come off the clock, we're gonna be in a lot better shape. All right, that's so I thought I was going to have to do a 34. Turns out we're okay to not do one. We just had to shut down early today. We'll shut down as early as possible tomorrow. We'll shut down as early as possible the next day. When the conversation came up in the comments that we should just get rid of the 70-hour clock for my non-truck driving friends, people looking into being a truck driver, over a period of 8 days, we are allowed to work for 70 hours. That includes your on-duty time and your driving time. All right, that's over an 8-day period. The 7-day very rarely exists, and I think that's 60 hours. See, I've never had to deal with that. That's for carriers that are closed on weekends. There's no such thing, I don't think. And even if there is, say that you're open on weekends, bam, all of a sudden it's 8 days and 70 hours. Anyways, if you are going to exceed that time, there's the few options I have where I'm running like shorter days, so I can recaps. I'm not going to give you a whole lesson on this, but recaps are what you lose or what you gain back from the hours you used 8 days ago. You will gain back at midnight, what have you, right? And if you're going to exceed that, the only way to get a brand new 70-hour clock, this is just a recap or a quick education for my non-trucking friends, is to do a 34-hour reset where you are off duty for 34 hours. You get a brand new 70-hour clock. So back to the discussion with that law. It seems that the general idea is that we should get rid of the 70-hour clock. Keep the 11, keep the 14, but get rid of the 70. That way truck drivers will never have to reset. I remember saying this also when I was a newer trucker, but most importantly, company driver. And I only say company driver because they are 2 different worlds. That's all there is to it. Being owner operator, lease operator, and company driver, all 3 are different things. They all have to do with driving a truck, but they are all 3 different things, and your model for how you're going to do things is going to be different. So when I was a company driver, I 100% wholeheartedly believed that we should get rid of the 70-hour clock. That way I never have to reset. That way I can run every day 11 hours down the road, which would maximize my paycheck, right? Makes sense to me. I agree with that part 100%. However, now with working on the spot market, I do have to wonder, is that a factor that is helping to prop up rates just a little bit? The fact that we have to either run shorter days or reset, does that effectively take more trucks out of the market at any given time, right? So if no trucks had to reset, how many millions of trucks per week would have an extra day that they could run? And with this market as bad as it is, which I'm going to rant and rave on in a little bit, with this market as bad as it is, what would that do to the freight market if all these millions of trucks were able to not have that rule anymore? And I think it would be devastating. Once again, this is all just thoughts, just opinions. But what I understand of the freight market is simple as supply and demand. The shippers, the receivers, the brokers do not care how much fuel costs. That's not a thing they take into consideration. They don't care how much trucks cost. They don't care what our cost is. What they care is, can we move this freight for as cheap as possible? And they are able to move that freight for as cheap as possible if there are more trucks, right? So speaking of it from this point of view, I would say that getting rid of the 70-hour rule is bad for all of us, believe it or not. That's my thoughts on it. The reason, especially us guys working on the spot market here, the minute we free up all those millions of trucks on a weekly basis to run another load or not be shut down in a truck stop, I think those rates fall through the floor. I think they do. That may be one of the last things that's saving us right now, is that trucks have to stop, right? We all like to make some money, don't we? I think so. That's my thoughts on it, which is not as in-depth as I thought it was going to be. But I do want to talk about this freight market because this is out of control. This is absolutely absurd. I was watching another channel here on YouTube. And I'm not here to bash people. I'm here to offer my opinion on that. I'm not going to say the name of the channel. If you guys know, you know. Anyways, the host of the channel was interviewing a guy, and correct me on this too if I'm misunderstanding, but he was interviewing a guy that was starting to boycott brokers because brokers weren't giving us enough money, right? And good for you for that. If rates aren't high enough, if we're not making enough money, then yes, by all means, boycott the brokers. That sounds like a good idea to me on the surface. I'm not going to pull your loads unless you give me a fair rate. And he was saying the rate should be, well, he was saying that it should be $3 standard, like a standard $3 a mile. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'd have to think more about that. But if we made the rate standard $3 a mile, and then the oil and gas companies knew that, and the truck manufacturers knew that, I think they just work with the prices until that $3 a mile was equal to $1 a mile for us, and we're just back in the same boat if we standardized it across the board. Now, keep in mind, when I was a younger trucker, I made the argument that it should be a standard price across the board. I don't know if that's the way to go. These big companies, I don't want to say they're smarter than us, but there's a possibility they might be, you know. But do they understand the economics of things on a level that we possibly can't even comprehend? When we say we want $3 a mile, every mile, and that's what we want, then oil and gas is just going to go, oh, you wanted to pay $7 a gallon for fuel? I mean, that, to me, that balances out. Oh, you wanted trucks to be 200,000 from now on? I mean, I know that they're up there, but that's just what they're going to cost, and that's that. You want trucks to be 300,000? Huh? Try me, because we'll bring those prices right up there to match your $3 a mile. So I think setting it to a specific amount, for one, caps our pay. Also puts a solid bottom on it. I'm not sure if that's the way I wanted to say that. But it's just $3 and that's that. But I do respect the sentiment nonetheless. But the issue I found in that video, something that really stood out to me, and I wasn't sure how I felt about it, but I didn't feel good things about it, was that the guy said that his company was running household goods, basically a moving company, for years. And then they saw freight rates go skyrocket because of COVID. And they went, okay, we're going to jump in and we're going to do freight. Millions and millions and millions of people did the exact same thing, which is why rates are where they are right now, because everybody's still trying to hold on and stay in the market and still make money. And it's washing people out, which needs to happen. And maybe I'll touch more on that later if I remember. But if you jumped in at the peak, at the height of the COVID rates, because the rates were high, and now you want to boycott and you want to protest and you want to do all these things, keep in mind, maybe just a little bit, that you did what millions of other people did. And the rates were inevitably going to come down because of that. What everybody, and this may include me, okay, because I bought a truck. My first truck I bought was during that peak, during COVID times. I was pretty naive then. I was like, this is how much owner-operators get paid? Yeah, at the time it was. It ain't now. It really ain't now. But at the time, yes, that's what owner-operators get paid. I mean, it was nothing to do like a 7,500 week gross. Nothing. 9,000. I did a couple $12,000 weeks. Now we're going, can I just get to 6? 5 will be fine. We're like, you know, we're going back and forth in our heads. Fine, I'll just take 5. Can I at least make it to 5? God damn, you know. But it was nothing to just, 7,500 was easy money. And then you could pass that by a long ways. Everybody saw that. Where did everybody saw it? Maybe we're to blame. Maybe us on YouTube are to blame. Because we all got on here and talked about how we cannot believe these rates. We are killing it right now. I mean, fuel was costing me $1,000 a week back then. $1,000 a week? That alone is huge right now. And then the rates were absolutely insane. I mean, you're watching $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 hit your bank account every week. We might have been part of the problem, fellas. Oh yeah, we might have been part of the problem. Trucking is so amazing. But I'm sure there were other ways people were finding out too about these rates. And millions and millions and millions of people jumped in. We all got to ride that for a while, didn't we? Well, it's over. It's over. Because now there's too many trucks for the amount of freight that needs to move. And there's people out there, possibly myself, still trying to hang on. Now, I was a trucker way before COVID. I was never ever involved in the owner-operator and lease-operator part of the business before then. But I was a trucker long before COVID even happened. When I started trucking, it was the standard rate was 28 to 32 cents a mile for company guys. It was 40 cents. Maybe I'm a little off on that, but it was like 40 cents before COVID. COVID hits, now companies are like 50 cents, 60 cents, 70 cents. What do you need? Get in the truck. We need that truck moving. Have you seen rates? And then when that went up, it did exactly what the industry... Don't listen to me, industry. Don't listen to me. But it did exactly what I said it always needed to do. Attract more people. Attract younger people. Where's the camera? What side's it on? I take that back. In the spot market now, I don't want it to attract more people. We have got such an interesting situation here now. Now, all these people that bought equipment and started their own trucking company, I mean, they're losing it. They're losing equipment, and that's probably why this guy wants to protest and boycott and do all these things, because his business is going under. He's not going to make any money. I don't know this to be fact. This is just a theory, right? I don't know the guy, but it's happening to millions of companies right now. I would not be surprised in this year if we see big companies closing the doors again, like we saw like Celadon. How many years ago was that? Not that many years ago. We're going to see companies like that closing their doors, because what are they going to do? In the current market, what are they going to do when they're paying their drivers 70 cents a mile? And these brokers are trying to pay, I saw 82 cent a mile loads. I don't know if people are grabbing them. I'm seeing $1.30, $1.40. We're fighting for these $2 loads out here in the West, okay, where I'm at right now. We're digging, we're looking for them out West here. Now, Midwest seems to be doing okay still as far as the rates go, but I haven't seen anything phenomenal, nothing too crazy. But I was wrong, is the point. When I used to rant and rave about how we need to attract more people. We need younger talent out here. We need to keep this going. No, we don't. No, we don't. And that happened too because so many people were losing their jobs. It wasn't even just the people buying equipment, right? So many people were losing their jobs because of COVID. And name another business you can get into with a 3-week license, trucking school. And then at most, unless you go to Prime for some reason, but at most 3 weeks with a trainer, next thing you know, you're out here making 70 grand. Just like that. If you go to Prime, you're with the trainer for 6 months or 6 years maybe before they give you the keys to a truck. Like, you got to do TNT or whatever until you're, 47 and a half years old, and then the high council at Prime has to approve you to drive. I don't know what it's not that severe actually, but like, it's like you get your CDL and go to Prime. 6 months later, guys are like, I got my first truck. Jesus, son, what happened? Everyone else has been out there forever. But besides Prime, where else can you go get a 3-week license, 3 weeks training, 6 weeks total, be in a truck by yourself, or be doing the thing, whatever the thing is, and making, 70, 80, 90, 100 grand. Trucking industry, stop listening to me. When I said we need to attract new people, I was lying. It didn't work out. But now we've got all these people with equipment and businesses they started that are just trying to hang on, and they're not going to. That doesn't mean I'm going to hang on either. I might not. I'm trying, right? Worst case for me, I turn the lease truck back in and I drive company, I don't know. Putting out these numbers I'm putting out weekly on YouTube. I know there's some business owners here on YouTube. You want a runner? Huh? You want to hire a runner? Because I'll knock out 3,300 miles for you. Don't worry, and I'll keep recapping. That's worst case. I'll get on here and ask who wants to hire me, But with the company drivers, though, a lot of people lost their jobs. This is a very easy industry to get into, right? And now, those jobs didn't come back. The guys that thought they were going to get in a truck to survive COVID, oh, they're stuck. They're stuck in the truck now. Their jobs didn't come back, and jobs are a joke right now. I mean, my God. Even people with degrees, jobs are a joke right now. Oh yeah, we could pay you $18 an hour. Bro, I live in LA. What do you mean 18 an hour? I don't live in LA, but you get the point, right? New York City, oh, we'll pay you 21 an hour. 21. Get the hell out of here. This is like one of the last things left, it feels like, where you can actually make a decent living. But that's all crumbling right in front of us because everybody else thought the same thing. So what I think is, how do I want to say this? I don't think the industry should correct itself. I think it will, right? It is going to throw a lot of people out kicking and screaming, and that may include me. We'll see how she goes, okay? It's tough to be out here right now. It's tough. But I think companies are going to start closing doors. Not these megas, but, 300, 400, 500 truck operations that are trying to stay competitive with pay, that are trying to pay people 70, 75 cents a mile, they're going to be closing doors, I think. There's going to be people losing their businesses. And as this may sound cold-hearted, it may sound like a really terrible thing for me to say, it's what needs to happen. We need trucks and truckers removed from the market. Even if that's me. Because we need the rates to go up to a manageable, sustainable level for the people that stick through it. I was wrong. I was dead wrong when I said that this industry needs to attract more people. It's not a nice thing to say because everybody deserves to make a living, right? But when you get too many people out here in trucks, then nobody's making a living. And I know this is kind of a brutal industry, especially the over-the-road part of it, where it takes a certain mindset to make it. Used to take a certain mindset to make it. It's changed even since I've been doing this. 10 years ago, it was a different world out here. It was. Like, even being able to communicate with family at home on a really consistent basis was difficult. Yes, we all had cell phones, but it wasn't like the words. Oh, what is it? The infrastructure of cell phones and internet wasn't what it is now. It's not like you just text your life away. You had to wait till you had service. I know I sound like an old man, but like it was a different world. The trucks, you've got room in here. You can do stuff. You can put up your computer and be on the internet all the time. I always said this industry should cater to younger people and find ways to attract us. Not us. I'm an old man now. Jesus, where does the time go? But I think I might have been wrong about that. When's the last time you heard the term trucker shortage? Been a while, huh? Been a while. Nobody's talking about no trucker shortage anymore. Now, this is the first time I've ever seen the lows. This is an educational experience for me. The next time I start to hear people talking about trucker shortage, that's when I know I'm going to make money again. That's when I know the money's coming back. I can't wait. till they start talking about it. That leads me to the next thing. What do I think about automation in trucking? I don't know, man. I used to think, I've learned a lot since my rants about we need to automate trucks. Learned a lot about myself, and I've learned a lot about the real world, you know. For one, I used to hate the way truckers treat each other, right? That was a lot of my rants. Now I don't even notice how truckers treat each other. I ain't paying attention, you know. I have no clue. The companies that want to automate trucks, the longer it drags out without really seeing any progress, the more it starts to look like that truck company, Nikola, that was a huge scam. It was some hydroelectric truck or whatever, really sharp looking truck. They had videos of it running down the road, propaganda videos of it running down the road. There was no motor or engine or anything in it. They took it up to the top of a mountain and let gravity do its thing. This was years ago now. But the more time goes on and you see no real progress being made except propaganda videos here and there, you start to wonder how much of that was just to get investors. You can always say you tried. After you walked away, you got your multi-million-dollar mansion, right? I don't know if it's illegal to try and get investors as long as you're not straight up scamming people. Start to wonder about that. These folks take me for a ride? They might have. They might have. I'm not sure that we're going to be automated. I'm not sure that we are. Having a whole crisis in my head right now because all the things I think or used to think, I challenge those now. And that sort of kind of explains the whole different theme on the channel, where I'm just kind of like just trying to tell my story and mind my business. In short, I'm not proud of how I acted on this platform before. I'm not even a little bit. And that's not even supposed to be part of the video. I wasn't even supposed to bring that up. But I guess the point of that is I do wonder how much of my thought process on things have changed, you know. We need less truckers. I don't mean let's fire people and let's take away their livelihood. But as people leave the industry slowly, let's not be in such a hurry to replace them. I know the CDL schools are going to hate that, but let's not be in such a hurry to replace them. You know, we've got a world in front of us that's about to change dramatically, and I don't know how the world's going to react to that. But what I mean by that is the baby boomers are going to leave the workforce. A lot of them have. My parents are the youngest of the baby boomers, as young as it gets, and they're 60. You know, and we are going to see a dramatic shift in the way the world works, how commerce works, how much stuff you actually need once that generation leaves the planet, right? I'm trying to be nice here. There's going to be a dramatic shift in the way the entire world works. And we may need to figure out ways to do things in completely different ways from how we're doing now. Because that generation is massive. Massive. And the younger generation after us, I'm by definition millennial. The thing about millennial always drives me crazy because people think that means like 17 or 18-year-old. It's the same as like a baby boomer's a generation. Gen X is a generation. I think it's Gen Z after us. After millennials. Our kids basically. Because I've got grown kids. They're not having children. Why would they? I mean, why would they? You know. Houses cost $600,000. Jobs pay $12 an hour. There's a disconnect there. So they're not having children. When the population eventually shifts that dramatically, the whole world has to change. We have to rethink the way we're doing things, because we've lived all this time since at least the baby boom with this concept that there's somebody somewhere that always needs something at all times. That may change. We may never see rates like that again. That may have been our last ride. I don't know. Anyways, I think I'll shut up for now. It's just the thoughts I have. I could be wrong, and you're welcome to offer your counterpoint in the discussion. We know that I don't do hurling insults at each other because you disagree with them. Y'all behave down there, all right? Y'all behave down there. And we'll get through this discussion. I promise you we will. See ya.